With the upcoming release of Silent Hill 2 Remake just on the horizon, I thought it would be appropriate to rapid review all the old Silent Hills, starting with the first one. So let's get started.
Welcome to Retro Adam.
Do you think it says Retro Adam enough on my body? All right, going all the way back to 1999, we are going to be discussing the very first Silent Hill that came out on the Sony PlayStation. When I first played this game, I found it at Blockbuster. My brother was working at Blockbuster at the time. I saw the box art on the shelf, and it was that weird gray Harry Mason face. It intrigued me. I was kind of like, what? Konami made this? Is this like Konami's Resident Evil or something? It captured me enough, it got my attention enough for me to grab it, rent it, and bring it home for the night. When I played it, I was confused. The opening music was very strange to me. It was that weird, like, it had that opening cinematic, which was quite surreal. I didn't even know what I was expecting. Like, was it a horror game? Was it like a puzzle game, action game, platformer? I had no idea. But once I started the game, there's that creepy music chimed in.
Cheryl? Is that Cheryl? Where are you going?
And the weird, awkward voice acting. Harry Mason is the main character. He's trying to find his daughter after they got into a car crash. Right away in the opening, you see your daughter in the fog and you have to go chase her.
Hey, wait! Stop!
And you go down this alley and it just gets creepier and darker and more menacing. The sound effects and the music were so gripping, and I was kind of like, what is this game? It's so weird. Then those little baby things come out and start stabbing you in the leg, and you're kind of like, what do I do? And sure enough, you pass out, you wake up in a restaurant, and then you meet Sybil Bennett, who's the police officer who's been visiting from the town close by. And then between Harry Mason and Sybil Bennett, they're talking back and forth, but the way they speak is also very strange. Like, there's these long pauses, and it almost complements how strange the game is.
Was I dreaming?
How do you feel?
Oh, like I've been run over by a truck.
Glad to hear it. You from around here? Why don't you tell me what happened?
So it almost works. Like, I don't know if they were intentionally trying to make them talk weird, but like, it seemed to work though. So, but after that, you get your gun, you start going through the town looking for your daughter. That's essentially what the game revolves around, is you trying to find your daughter in the town of Silent Hill. Like, I thought the game was already scary enough as is, but then you get to the school, and that's extremely creepy. You're going down these hallways and there's those weird baby things with the knives, faceless babies. You go through this school. I remember I kept getting stuck a lot, and I had a magazine that kind of had a mini walkthrough in it, and I needed to keep looking at that to keep progressing. But after you've beat the first part of the school, it gets even creepier. Like, you go through this weird underground clock tower-like structure, and then you come back out and everything's even more creepy. Like, everything's rusted and orange and bloody like, and the music's even scarier. And I had to turn the game off so many times, because when I played it, I think I was only about 12 or 13 when I played it, and it was just way too creepy for me. I had to turn it off multiple times. I definitely could not play it at home alone. Those are my experiences with the first Silent Hill. But what would I give it out of 10? What would I rank it as? Honestly, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10, just because how unique and creepy it is. It's one of the scariest games I've ever played. So I would give it a 10 out of 10 for the first Silent Hill. And then moving on, we're gonna go to Silent Hill 2. Now, this is the game that's being remade and coming out in October. This game I absolutely love. It has such a great storyline. The voice acting is, some of it's good, some of it's terrible, but I really like the main character, James Sunderland, and he goes to the town of Silent Hill to look for his wife, Mary, who has sent him a letter somehow from beyond the grave, and that's why he's in the town looking for her. And so throughout the game, you're going to these different locations, like a hospital and a apartment building and then a hotel. And you're meeting these other people throughout the town who've also been sucked into the town for their own reasons. It's just one of the best video game stories I've ever experienced. And the music, again, incredible. I think the first Silent Hill is scarier, but the second one has a better story. I don't want to spoil anything. I hope Blooper Team does a good job of the remake. That's coming out next month, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. And then there was a Game Boy Advance game called the Silent Hill Play Novel, and that only came out in Japan. I was kind of disappointed because I really wanted to play it. But recently I found out that somebody had translated it, and I ported it over to my Game Boy SP, and then I played a little bit of it, and it seemed pretty fun. It like kind of goes into more depth about the Silent Hill, the first Silent Hill, more details about the universe and characters and plot points and things like that. I thought it was pretty fun. I mean, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10 or something. But I mean, I really like Silent Hill, so I'm a little bit biased. I also forgot to rate the second Silent Hill. That's a 10 out of 10 for me. And then moving on to 2003, we had Silent Hill 3, and in this one you play as well, I don't want to spoil anything, but so for Silent Hill 3, you're playing as the daughter of Harry Mason, so this is Heather Mason, and she kind of gets sucked into her own Silent Hill story as well, going through seeing all these crazy monsters and all these different twisted things start happening around her. It's been a very long time since I've played Silent Hill 3. I do remember it being quite good. There was a detective character that I thought was kind of bland, and he seemed strange. I vaguely remember any of the other characters in it, but I do remember liking Heather Mason a lot. She seemed like a pretty intriguing character. So Silent Hill 3, I'd probably give, I mean, I really need to play it again, but I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. I do remember it still being quite fun to play, similar to Silent Hill 2. And then moving on to Silent Hill 4, which is right here. This is Silent Hill 4, The Room. They kind of spice things up in this one. What is his name? I think it's Henry Townshend. And you're this guy who wakes up in his apartment building. You're essentially trapped in your apartment and you can't get out. You can't open the windows, you can't open the front door. It's chained. There's no way out. You're stuck in your apartment and you kind of just look around. You're trying to find a way out. Nothing you can do. The opening's pretty creepy. There's this weird like ghost zombie thing that comes out of the wall and starts like chasing you. Silent Hill 4, there's some good, there's some bad. I don't like the main character. He's very boring and he has no personality. He's kind of just like going from place to place and just kind of like, huh? What? What's happening? Where am I? What the hell? Throughout the entire game, there's just nothing there. A blank slate. But he meets his neighbor. I believe her name is Eileen. She has a little bit more personality, but even she's kind of like, okay. Basically, so in the apartment, eventually there's a point where a hole opens up in the bathroom and you got to crawl through the hole to get out, and the hole transports you to different locations. And when you go to each different location, you meet somebody, you kind of hear their story. Each person that he meets at these locations are they're also strange and weird, and they didn't really do too much for me. Story-wise, it was kind of like, nothing there. Henry was boring. The music was really good, though. I remember the trailer for this was really, really good. I believe the trailer music was called Lullaby. I really enjoyed that. That trailer was really, really cool. There's those weird, creepy creatures with the double-headed babies with the long arms, and they're walking around. There was a lot of cool monsters in that game. Some of the strange things that I didn't like were there was like these dogs with long tongues, and when you hit them, they sounded like cats, like cougar cats or something. So they'd be like, wow! And I was like, that's not the right sound effect for a dog. And then there's these other weird creatures that had like these big bellies, and when you hit them, they'd like belch. So like I remember I hit him and he started belching down the stairs. It was like and then I just started laughing. I was like, this is totally taking me out of the experience. Like, I'm not scared at all. Now I'm just laughing at these weird creatures here with these ridiculous sound effects. So I don't know what the thought process was behind that. So there's some very strange sound effects happening there. So Silent Hill 4, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. Like, there's some good stuff about it, not so good stuff, but for me, 7 out of 10. And then moving on, there's a few games here that I don't even recognize. Like, I don't know what the Silent Hill collection is. I don't know what the Silent Hill mobile game is. And there's Silent Hill the arcade. I'm not sure what that is. Silent Hill Orphan. I don't know what that is. I did play Silent Hill Origins. That was on the PSP. And I do remember liking that one quite a bit. You're this trucker. I don't remember his name. I think it was Travis or something. And he was a trucker. He drives into the town of Silent Hill, I believe, and gets sucked into all this weird mayhem. I remember his character being nothing really there as well. Some of the places you visit are like a movie theater, and I think you visit another hospital in that game. And the hospital is kind of like the staple of Silent Hill. I remember enjoying it. I didn't dislike it, but from what it's been so long since I've played that one, but I'd probably give that one maybe a 7 out of 10. It did have some good parts in it though. Moving on to Silent Hill: The Escape. I'm not sure what that is. I don't remember hearing about that. Then there's Silent Hill Orphan 2. Again, not sure what that is. Then there's Silent Hill Homecoming, which is right here. So Silent Hill Homecoming was made by a different developer. Konami hired a company to do this game for them. Something that bugged me about Silent Hill Homecoming was that you couldn't change the camera because I like helicopter controls, where up is down, down is up, and that option wasn't in the game, so it kind of like ruined the experience for me, because the game was like almost unplayable for me because I'm so used to inverted controls, and they didn't have that option. From what I remember, you're someone returning. I believe his name was Alex. You're returning home from war. You go home. You see your mother. She's all whacked out. She's got dementia or something.
What are you doing here? You've been gone too long.
Where's Josh?
But now he's gone. Everyone's gone.
Throughout the game, you run into these creatures. You go into like a cemetery. You're going to strange places, and I remember the combat being very wonky, and it felt like an unfinished game. It felt like the developers didn't have enough time to kind of fix a few things about it. The story was pretty interesting. Like, there was inspiration taken from Jacob's Ladder, plainly see throughout as you play the game.
Where's my squad? Hey, talk to me. Say something. Oh, God. Oh, God!
You're basically, I believe you're trying to find your brother throughout the story. Again, there's some good parts, there's some bad parts. It wasn't great. There's a couple spots where the voice acting was like really high and then really low, and then there's some glitchy parts in it.
Listens. Scarlet, is she here?
She's here with me now. My baby. My beautiful child. Daddy forgot to bring you a present today. She loves dollies.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good game. I'd probably give it like a 6 out of 10. And then they had Silent Hill Shattered Memories on the Wii, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was really cool. It was kind of like a retelling of the first game, and except you had like the Wii controls. They did a lot of cool stuff in that game. Like, it opens up where they ask you what your fears are, like whether it's clowns or spiders or something like that, and then play through the game. Then they try and introduce those fears into the playthrough, which I thought was kind of a neat concept. I think they kind of did that in Until Dawn as well, so I guess it was similar to that. I did like the fact that you could use your controller as the flashlight. So as you like looked around, you could point your flashlight in the direction you wanted to look at objects, and that was a really cool thing that I enjoyed. I didn't like the parts where you had to like run away from creatures. So you're like knocking down filing cabinets, or you're knocking down furniture to stop these creatures from chasing you. And those parts of the game were just frustrating. There's a lot of times where I was like, where do I go? What am I doing? And it was just very frustrating. Aside from that, those parts, then everything else was well done. For Silent Hill Shattered Memories, I would give a 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it. It was quite fun. And then moving on to 2010, there was Silent Hill Orphan 3. I don't know what that is. 2012, Silent Hill Downpour, that came out on the PS3. They handed it off to another developer. This one was centered around water as the theme of the game, and I don't know why they did that. Like, fog was always like the big thing that Silent Hill has always been about, and for whatever reason they switched over to water, and there's a lot of went into like the other world. There would just be water everywhere, and that was very strange to me. I remember the story being quite good though. The characters were pretty intriguing, but overall it kind of fell flat. A lot of cool concepts, like you could kind of backtrack, and there was like a subway system or train system where you could go from one end to the other end of the town. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't that great either, so 8 out of 10 for Silent Hill Downpour. And then also in 2012, they came out with the Silent Hill HD collection, which was 2 and 3 in one package. They redid the voice acting. I remember the voice acting being strange.
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway?
Maria? How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
Like James Sunderland sounded his voice became very deep, and it just didn't sound quite right. Same with the other actors, but I believe they gave you the option to switch between the two. So if you like the old voice acting, you can still stick with that. And then we move on to Silent Hill Book of Memories. It also came out in 2012, and that was for the PlayStation Vita. It was almost like a Diablo-like game. It was like a dungeon crawler, which is a strange idea for a Silent Hill game. I did beat that game. I haven't played it since. But yeah, it was weird. You'd go from room to room, you'd pick up these weapons, you'd fight all these pyramid heads and other creatures. And it just, I don't know, I mean, it kind of worked, but it didn't. It didn't even need to be Silent Hill. It could have just been some other game. They could have just called it something else. I'd probably give that one a 6 out of 10. It was okay, I guess. And then moving on to 2014, we got PT, which was made by Kojima. And I was extremely sad when Kojima left Konami, because then PT was canceled, and PT was amazing if you had a chance to play it. It came out on the PS4 as a demo, and they had some really cool ideas in that. I really wish they had finished that game, because it probably would have been phenomenal based on the demo. A lot of creepiness. The music was like everything, the sound effects, the music, the atmosphere. It was just a very, very cool concept that they put together. And it's unfortunate that they had to cancel it. Yeah, I was pretty sad when they had to get rid of that. PT I'd give 10 out of 10 for sure. It was awesome. It's just a demo, but it was awesome. Super fun. And then Silent Hill was like dead for a while, and then it came back recently, and now we had Silent Hill Ascension, which was, I believe, some sort of like social experiment where you had to download an app and then like play through the app and watch a video of what happens based on your answers. And that didn't go very well. Like there's a lot of glitches, and people were like, this is stupid. Why is this Silent Hill? And you had to like pay to make the decisions. So yeah, it was a very bizarre concept. People did not like it. And then there was a new demo called Silent Hill: The Short Message. I had played that on the PS5. It was blah. It was all over the place. You're like this teenage girl, and you're going from place to place. The graphics were pretty neat, but she's trying to find her. I barely even remember what happened in it, but she's trying to find her friend, and there's these text messages, and you're going back and forth, and she's stuck going between these different worlds, and there's this creature with flowers all over it trying to chase you, and yeah, I don't know. It didn't really work for me. Silent Hill: The Short Message, I'd probably give like a 6 out of 10. Like it was very weird to me. I didn't really enjoy it that much. And then Silent Hill 2 Remake is coming out next month. I'm really excited to play that one, or see the reviews and see how it's received. So stay tuned for that. And then there's a couple other Silent Hill games coming out. Silent Hill Townfall, and then like this other Silent Hill F. So there's not a whole lot of information on those games yet, but looking forward to those. So there you go. That is my Silent Hill rapid review video. Let me know in the comments what you think of these Silent Hill games I went over. Do you have a favorite? Let me know. I also have a giant Silent Hill tattoo on here. I don't know if you can really see it there, but that's what this tattoo is based off of. So that's how you know I'm a super Silent Hill fan. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. As always, thanks for watching. Take care.